Hola, buenos días. Hoy es el 28 de abril. We are in session 8 and we are continuing with capítulo 6b, La Casa. Today we're going to talk a little bit about your house first here and some review questions. You should be able to answer these personally about your home, and they're very similar to those that you used in your recording on Friday. So the first question says, ¿Cómo es tu casa? Como es is asking, what is your house like? So you would respond with mi casa es and an adjective to describe it. For example, mi casa es azul, mi casa es grande, etc. ¿Cuántos dormitorios tienes? How many bedrooms do you have? I would say tengo tres dormitorios en mi casa. I have 3 bedrooms in my house. And again, you would replace tres with whatever number. ¿Cuántos pisos hay? How many floors are there? If you remember last week, you saw it in a house in a Spanish-speaking country where you enter. This floor was called la planta baja, the ground floor. This would be true in a hotel, an apartment building, etc. On the elevator, you would actually see a button for the planta baja. And then the button number 1 would be for the first floor, el primer piso. This is typical in elevators here too. A lot of times we'll see a button labeled GF, ground floor, and then 1. And then here would be el segundo piso, the second floor. But all together, my house has tres pisos. Okay, so I would say, ¿Cuántos pisos hay? Hay tres pisos. There are 3 floors. ¿Tiene un garaje? Una piscina? Does it have a garage? A pool? Sí. ¿Tiene un garaje? Yes, it has a garage. Pero no tiene una piscina. But it does not have a pool. Okay, again, the idea would be that you can answer each of these questions personally about your own home. And that's a review of what you did last week. Today we're going to look at los quehaceres. You have a guided note sheet attached to the same assignment as this video. I would ask you to fill out the guided note sheet as you watch the video. We're going to start with activity A. It says, listen to the reading of the los quehaceres. Answer the following questions based on the audio and text. So I'm going to read this here to you. You can use the pictures to help with your understanding. And then you're going to answer questions 1 through 3 on your worksheet. Todos tenemos que ayudar con los quehaceres en la casa. Para organizar el trabajo, vamos a usar una aplicación. Mamá va a cocinar. Su cuarto favorito es la cocina. Papá va a lavar la ropa, limpiar el baño y lavar los platos sucios. Mi hermana tiene que sacar la basura y pasar la aspiradora. ¿Y cuáles son los trabajos que yo debo hacer? Pues, doy de comer el perro, pongo la mesa con los platos limpios, y corto el césped. You'll see that as I read, I highlighted certain words there that I think might be a concern for you from previous units and such, so you can go back and take a look at those as well. And think about your own personal answers to those questions. So for example, ¿Quién en tu casa corta el césped? ¿Quién pone la mesa? ¿Quién lava los platos? ¿Cuándo lava los platos? Okay, and review the chores here with some of those questions. First 2 slides here. Okay, for activity B, it says using question words to ask about chores, write possible questions below from the video. The 4 questions that we have here work very well with any of the chores that you just had in the last slide. So for example, if we took the chore cocinar, to cook, I could use that in any of these questions. So I could say, ¿Quién cocina? Who cooks? En tu casa. ¿Cuántas veces cocina? How often does this person cook? So let's say, ¿Cuántas veces cocina tu papá? How often does your dad cook? ¿Cuándo cocina? When does he or she cook? And ¿dónde cocina? Where does he or she cook? So again, you could replace cocina with any other chore. For example, I could say instead, sacar la basura, to take out the garbage. And then I could replace cocina with saca. ¿Quién saca la basura? Who takes out the garbage? ¿Cuántas veces saca la basura? How often does he or she take out the garbage? ¿Cuándo saca la basura? When does he or she take out the garbage? And ¿dónde saca la basura? Where do they take out the garbage? So each of these 4 questions work with any of your chores. In terms of a response, ¿Quién is an easy one. I would answer with a person. So for example, if it's my dad that cooks, I would say mi papá cocina. If he cooks all the time, I could use the word siempre. Okay, and that would be how often as well. So we can think about different words that would work for how often. Siempre, always. De vez en cuando is sometimes. Once in a while. As is a veces. That'd be another word that works. ¿Cuántas veces? If it's, for example, sacar la basura, taking out the garbage. Most of us only have to take out the garbage once a week. So we could say una vez, una semana, one time a week. If you do it more than one time a week, like twice a week, you would have to go to dos veces. Vez changes to veces in the plural. Una semana, 2 times a week. Okay, and so on. You would just change dos here to tres veces una semana. If you do it every day, such as washing the dishes, you could say todos los días. And another expression, we had the word cada día, each day, every day. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways you can answer that question. Please include that vocab on your guided note sheet. ¿Cuándo is asking when does it happen? So that's a little more specific. For example, if I said, ¿Cuándo cocina? When does he cook? I could say, cocina en la mañana. He cooks in the morning. Cocina el desayuno. He cooks breakfast. That includes when. Cocina el fin de semana. On the weekends. Okay, so ¿cuándo is going to be a bit more specific. ¿Dónde cocina? Where does he cook? Would include a room. Cocina en la cocina. Again, if I referred to sacar la basura, I could say saca la basura, takes the garbage outside, afuera. Okay, or saca la basura al garaje, he takes the garbage to the garage. ¿Cuándo? Saca la basura el jueves, he takes the garbage out on Thursdays. You could use a day of the week. Okay, so that should help you better understand the questions. What I'd like you to do is just take a couple minutes and go back to the previous, using the eres and the question words to assist you. The other expressions that we need for today are expressions that we use to talk about things that we have to do, want to do, and will do. And for that, we have 3 different expressions that are important. Tener que plus an infinitive. Tener que means to have to. And just a refresher, an infinitive is any AR, ER, or IR verb. So basically it's an activity, it's a verb in its whole form. So to have to do something. So for example, if I put the infinitive there, lavar los platos, I would be saying I have to wash the dishes. That works very well with chores, things that we have to do. Tener ganas de means to want to do something. whatever our infinitive is. So I might have to cut the grass, but I want to watch TV. Ir a infinitive is will do something. And this is one we've already looked at. This is expressing things that will happen in the future. Okay. So for each of these, if I were to use the expression, I would conjugate the first verb, tener or ir. So this would be conjugated based on who is doing the action. Then I would use the rest of the expression and an infinitive to say what it is that they have to do, want to do, etc. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. If I said I have to, yo, tango, que, cortar, el césped. I have to cut the grass, but, pero, I want to, yo tango, again, conjugating tener for yo, ganas de, jugar videojuegos, but I want to play video games. Voy a, that now is the conjugation of ir for yo, cortar el césped. And then I could tell you when I will cut the grass. I will cut the grass later, luego, más tarde. I could say voy a cortar el césped primero. I will cut the grass first. Okay. And I could use all three of those expressions together. Now, the only thing would change is that if I was talking about somebody else. So, for example, if I wanted to change this little paragraph here to talk about my sibling, right? I could say instead of yo, mi hermano, and then that would require me to change the tango. So, tener for he would be tiene que. He has to cut the grass, but he wants to. El, again, tiene. Ganas de jugar videojuegos. He is going to cut the grass later. Voy is for yo. So for he, I would say él va a cortar el césped. Okay. Again, if I was going to make one more change and I wanted to say they are going to, my siblings, then each word would become plural. Mis hermanos tienen que cortar el césped. Ellos tienen ganas de jugar. And ellos van a cortar el césped. Okay? So depending on who it is you're talking about, you have to conjugate the tener or the ir in the beginning of each of those expressions. On your guided note sheet, you can fill in what each of those means and then give an example right below the ir a infinitive so that you realize how they work. Okay, so once you've watched the video and you've gone through each of these activities, the last thing I ask you to do is to use your notes to write a 6 to 8 sentence paragraph about the chores that are done at your house, who does them, and how often. So the other thing that you're asked to do is to tell what you have to do and what you want to do, as well as what you will do using these expressions here or up in activity C. Okay, so that is your work for today. If you have any questions, please message me as usual. Continue to look over the house vocabulary, the rooms, the furniture. Continue to look over your quehaceres. I know we only meet on Tuesdays and Fridays, but as you would typically do throughout the week, you should keep looking at that vocab when you have a minute. Go back to Quizlet and look things over. Okay, I will see you on Friday. Adios.